Welcome to the show. Now, Nigeria's governing party, the All Progressives Congress, has finally begun the much-awaited screening of its 23 presidential aspirants. The chairman of the party, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, walked into the Transcorp Hilton venue of the screening in Abuja to declare the exercise open. The two-day screening had on its first day Senator Ibikunle Amosun, Felix Nwagbo, David Umahi, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Rotimi Amechi, and a host of others. Now, the 7-member screening committee is chaired by the former APC national chairman, John Odige Oyegun. But while the screening was ongoing, the presidential screening committee was asked to disqualify former Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu by some aggrieved groups over what they term, in quote, questionable educational qualifications. And the rest of the aspirants that will be screened on Tuesday include Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Governor of Cross River State Ben Ayade, Senate President Ahmed Lawan, Governor Yahya Bello of Kogi State, and many others. The party is preparing for a special national convention where a lot of these issues will finally be set to be conducted in such a way that the party will eventually lead to having its presidential candidate. And of course, I'm now being joined from the city of Port Harcourt by Ibim Semenitari, who is a leading member of the All Progressives Congress and a former commissioner in Rivers State. And of course, she's in one of the presidential campaign council. And later in the show, I will be joined by Arinze Igboeli, who is also a spokesman of the APC in the Southeast. And would like to welcome you, Ibim Semenitari, to the show. Let's just have a feel of what you... Thank you. Let's just have a feel of what the APC is doing at the moment. The opposition had been taunting the APC that it's not set to prepare its convention. Looks like it's, subtly asking people to step down. And all of a sudden, we see the APC trying to bounce back and screen people, laying to rest some of those allegations by some of these opposition parties. I mean, tell us more.
Well, one of the things that is very rampant in the season that we are, the political season, is rumor. So there'll be a lot of rumors, a lot of conversations going on, a lot of half-truths and a lot of real truths. The important thing is that the APC is a party that is determined to maintain its hold on power. And one of the things we must do as a party is ensure that we have a seamless convention so that everybody goes home happy and satisfied. Don't forget that the PDP, in terms of its number of delegates, has 1 per state, 1 per LGA. And the APC has 3 per LGA. So even in terms of numbers, we will be having more people at our convention than the PDP. And that means, therefore, that we would not want to leave anything to chance. We would not want to have any slips, as it were. In terms of whether there is a conversation around consensus or otherwise, I believe that the Electoral Act has made it something that even if you're going to have a consensus, then it will be one where everyone has signed on for it. So I don't think that should give anybody sleepless nights. I think what we should be concerned about is the fact that preparations are in top gear, and the APC would always come out on top of its game.
And I would like you to just give us an assessment of some of the things that we're hearing about the governing party. We haven't seen a national convention committee being put in place. Some of your party members are actually worried. I mean, if the national convention is next week, how come we don't have a national convention committee in place or even subcommittees being inaugurated and all of that?
I'm sure that we would have those conversations, or people will begin to hear a bit more with regard to that in the next couple of days. One of the things that's important is that the Presidential Screening Committee is not just in place, but doing its work. And it's led by no less a person than a former national chairman, a Nigerian of great repute, and someone that literally has done well and has held his own. So that, in fact, just gives you a taste of what to expect from the APC in terms of who is going to be leading what. And I think that should give some comfort to anyone. Quite frankly, before I'm sure in the next couple of days, you would hear a lot more happening with regards to the actual numbers, who will be where and what is going on. I don't think there's any reason to worry, quite frankly, from where I'm standing. I think that things are actually pretty much under control.
Yesterday we saw Bola Tinubu, we saw others like Rotimi Amechi being screened and all of that, and today is Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and I know you're in one of this presidential campaign council of especially Vice President. I want you to tell us more about that. What's been the experience? And some people will say, why are you not in Amechi's camp this time around?
I think that one of the good things about what the APC is doing is that everyone that the APC is presenting, or everyone who's trying to get on board, is someone that, quite frankly, has tremendous strength. There's none of the candidates who's trying to come on that we would not say very proudly can hold their own. Politics is a game of, you look at everybody and you wonder, I want to hire a CEO for a company, and I look at what does this company need? So Nigeria is the company, and right now, what does this company need? The kind of CEO I'll hire for a startup is different from the CEO I'll hire for a turnaround. It's different from the CEO I'll hire, so it depends on what you think the company needs and what, attributes you're looking for. And quite frankly, the ship of state at this point needs a CEO that is able to be a unifier, that is able to come with a lot of technocratic skills, someone who comes to the table with skills that would enhance the bureaucracy, with skills that will grow the bottom line, with skills that will look at the macro as well as the microeconomics, someone who has track record and evidence of having been able to do this before, who's had to steer the ship of state and has shown us when he steered the ship of state that he has capacity to do so. Someone who understands and has been part of this administration, so knows what worked and what didn't work. What can we do? What can't we do? I think when you look at the full picture, you're really looking for someone who will take us out of where we are, take us to where we can be. Nigeria is work in progress. Government is a continuum. But at every point in time, you want that person who can actually make the clock tick. And from where I'm sitting again, from my perspective, I think that Vice President Yemi Osinbajo ticks all the boxes. And quite frankly, like I said, we have a great team of people who are competing for this position. In order of preference, my preference would be Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, number one.
Okay, that would really actually interest a lot of persons considering the politics of Rivers State, and we've seen you some week coming out of that state to contest for the presidential ticket, though of the main opposition. You are in the PDP, you are in the APC, and we are seeing Rotimi Amechi coming out from that state, but you are pegging your shot this time around on Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. I mean, you are a senior journalist, editor, you've served in different capacities, including being a commissioner for information in Rivers State. Now, tell us about the chances of an APC against PDP, considering the emergence of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Do you think, for example, Yemi Osinbajo can withstand Atiku Abubakar?
I think, quite frankly, that he can, and he can withstand him effectively and very well. One of the things the PDP has done for us is actually present an Atiku Abubakar, because quite frankly, they've made our job a whole lot easier in terms of selling our candidates. And quite frankly, again, I keep saying, any of our candidates we put out there, we think will be able to beat the former vice president. Great guy that he is, but certainly not a match for Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, not a match for the APC. And yes, I do understand the way things are, quite frankly. Whenever a government is in power, the tendency is that all eyes are on you. So people see the things that are not being done well, and people are going to be upset. So we do understand that there are issues around the economy and people are worried about that. Yes, we do understand that. But we certainly also know that the PDP does not provide solutions. We know that the APC also has many more solutions than the PDP does. We know that there are things we may not blow our trumpet as much as we should, but quite frankly, we're able to also show that numbers have moved in the upward direction since we came on board. Have we been perfect? Have we done everything right? Is Nigeria smelling very nicely, perfectly? No, we've not been perfect. But we believe that there's a lot more we can do, and there are a few things we have done. We've drawn international attention to ourselves. There's been a new, if you like, entrepreneurial spirit across Nigeria. A lot of young people are doing great things. A lot of people are able to open their businesses. There's a lot happening in the agricultural sector, a lot more than we care to admit. And like I said, globally, there's a recession. Yes, we agree. And Nigeria has been hit, and hit badly, no doubt. But there have been good stories as well coming out of here. The APC wants to do even better. The APC is committed to a Nigeria that is functional, to a Nigeria that will serve Nigerians, not a Nigeria that will serve a few. No.
Okay, very interesting indeed. And actually, I've been speaking with some of your party leaders and members, and they just keep laughing about the emergence of Atiku Abubakar. One of them told me that they have a playbook on how to defeat Atiku. The APC has this hidden book on how to defeat Atiku Abubakar. Tell me more about the possibility of the APC this time around without President Muhammadu Buhari walking through that playbook to actually reenact the 2015 and 2019 scenario.
Let's even start on the basis of fairness, on the basis of equity. The fact that we've had 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari means that we should think of a pendulum swinging in the direction of the South. Let's even start with that alone. That's a first conversation. That's a first conversation. The other conversation is that in terms of deliverables, and we would, fortunately, none of the contestants will be new to government, at least so far. So Vice President Atiku Abubakar, fortunately, we have enough to show, all right? And we can show also, if the APC chooses to pick Yemi Osinbajo, for instance, we also have some things to show. So we're going to basically just compare notes. Quite frankly, when you compare notes, I'm not sure that there's too much left to say. And like I said, it doesn't matter who it is the APC chooses to bring. I think if others have laughed and I'm laughing, then you must know that we have something up our sleeve.
All right, we'll just ask you to hold on now. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. You're also watching the Arise interview. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Somna Sambo, and we're still discussing the politics of Nigeria's governing party, the All Progressives Congress, as it prepares for a special national convention to elect a presidential candidate next week. And of course, have been having a discussion from Port Harcourt, the River State capital, with Ibim Semenitari, who is a leading member of the All Progressives Congress, a former commissioner for information in River State under former Governor Rotimi Amechi, who incidentally is one of the contestants for the presidential ticket of the APC, and she was a former acting managing director of the NDDC, and she was also in the APC Presidential Campaign Council in 2019 as a spokesperson and all of that. And of course, I'm glad to also be joined in the studio by Arinze Igboeli, who is the spokesman of the All Progressives Congress in the Southeast. And of course,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and of course, Arinze, let's just talk about the preparation of the APC for the national convention. What's been your outlook about it? And the PDP has set a standard for the APC. Do you think you're enough to be able to take that challenge?
What standard, Sambo? Monetized activities. You saw how the likes of Governor Peter Obi and Ayatollah, left the scene because they complained that the process had been bastardized. Come 5th and 6th, you will see the APC in action, and you will see that it is not about money. You will see that it is about ideas. In 2014, one of the candidates in the PDP came and ran for the 10 tickets and heavily monetized the process. But what happened? He still lost the elections. So it's in the APC, we are going to show that it's a different ball game. It's about ideology, it's about credibility, it's about what the aspirant has to offer. That's what we're offering.
Okay, and I come back to you, Ibim. Let's talk about how the delegate system is going to work in your party. I mean, we have 3 this time around per local government area. So what will be the outlook like for Nigerians who expect you to actually show that as a governing party you can do better?
Well, one of the good things is that the delegates were actually elected at their various wards. They were elected from the wards to the LGAs. So the process is such that it actually, the delegates went through an election by other persons. That, I think, kind of broadens the space a little bit. Also, the fact that we have 3 per LGA, okay, as against just 1 voice per LGA, is also good. The APC did an additional thing. And so the APC has said that for every local government, one of the delegates must be a woman. And that's a good thing, because in terms of representation, the APC has tried to increase or to ensure inclusiveness. So that's a good thing as well. So I think, broadly speaking, at least we have more people in the pack who are making this decision as against the PDP situation. It also therefore means that it could actually be a bit more democratic in terms of, can you then have somebody just buy over everyone? Arinze talked of the heavy monetization of the process. I think that might not be as easy to do when you have these numbers.
Okay, and Arinze, we hope the EFCC will not come visiting to the APC National Convention.
If they come visiting, they will not see anything, because it's all about ideal. Like I said, if you look at the contest, if you look at the candidates we parade, you at least there's an array of stars. There's an array of people with experience. There's an array of people with, you can imagine, even when the form was put at 100 million, you could see the amount of people who still came to apply or vie for such a position. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the party is the top-notch party, is the party of the people. It's the party that has done so well. For 16 good years, PDP couldn't do so much in the Southeast. For 16 good years, PDP could not even reward the APs, the Igbo, my own people, for all what they had done for them. And they still had to give the ticket to a northerner.
Is the APC going to reward the Southeast this time around?
Well, what I know is that it's for the delegates to choose. But the PDP has been unfair to Igbo, and that's the basic truth.
Okay, let's talk about the preparation for the convention itself. Saliu Lukman, who's the national vice chairman for the Northwest, has written a very strong-worded letter to the APC national chairman, Senator Abdullah Adamu, saying that, look, the party is not running based on a standardized formation at the moment. Several things are being left to President Buhari to say this or say that. Today we saw President Buhari meeting with 22 APC governors. Do you think things will change in the party after this meeting?
Well, Saliu Lukman has been a voice for our party. We give it to him. But you see, running a political party as big as the APC also has its challenges. And I wish you would appreciate that. You have a various number of interests you have to cater for. You have interests you must pander to. So if he believes President Muhammad Buhari is the leader of the party, President Muhammad Buhari should be seen giving the party directions. But if these directions are counter to the party's growth, then there will be a problem. But if not, then I think Saliu should, once or twice just, sheet his pen, and we know he's a pensmith. He loves to write letters. But at the same time, running a party like the APC is quite tenuous. He should learn to appreciate such.
Okay.
Yes.
And Ibim, we have actually heard lots of these presidential aspirants saying that they are anointed candidates by President Muhammadu Buhari. I'm just wondering, is Vice President Yemi Osinbajo also preparing or awaiting that anointing oil so that he'll be able to just easily scale through, or he has done all that needs to be done by talking to the right people, meeting the right delegates, and of course he's prepared for victory?
Okay, I think that one of the good things Nigerians have seen is that Vice President Osinbajo has gone to every state of this country, including the FCT, engaging with delegates, talking with party men and women, even talking to the ordinary people, because as he comes, people are all over the place. People are shouting. You can't deny that his street credibility is high.
Do you think that these aspirants have done what's needful, or some of them are still banking on President Muhammadu Buhari's anointing oil?
Some are, but a majority of them have taken their messages to the delegates. I am aware that Asiwaju, Ubone Ono, Emeka Nwajioba, Rotimi Amechi, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Kayode Fayemi, they've all met delegates. And of course, you know, this process is hugely tasking. So you must, you know, it's not easy to crisscross the 36 states. But what we have seen among these people is the zeal to preach the message of the APC, is the zeal to also push their manifesto. If you read the manifesto of Amechi or read that of Osinbajo, you will see that these are candidates that are prepared, that are groomed, that are ready to, not what we saw in the other, on the other side. You understand what I'm saying? So basically, I think some of them have done their bits, and if President Muhammadu Buhari decides to anoint, there's no problem there, because he is leaving office. He would want someone to take up his good works. There is no issue there. The only problem is when he tries to now railroad it to the numbers of delegates that will be there. That's where there will be a problem. Right, but President Muhammadu Buhari has every right to say, okay, this is the person I feel should succeed.
All right, I'm being told that Ibim is back. So quickly, Ibim, just tell us what you think.
Oh, yes. So I said that Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has done what he needs to do in terms of engaging delegates. I think he does stand a very good chance of clinching the ticket. And it's going to take more than just anointing oil to be president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I'm sure that that's why, if you notice, all of our candidates, well, most of our candidates are actually engaging the delegates. They're not just sitting by and waiting for anointing. I don't think it would be fair on any of those candidates to say that that's what they're doing. They're engaging the delegates. And yes, it is possible that the president will say, this is my interest. He is a member of the party, by the way. He has a right to a choice. And I don't think we should deny him that choice. We shouldn't also feel terribly bad if he says, well, I would like you guys to consider this choice. He can say that. But I think the great thing about it is that the contestants, the aspirants, are actually going around and engaging the people.
Just before we let you go, there's been this talk that if the South fails, especially the Southwest, fails to get the presidential ticket of the APC, it will be because of the failure of Yemi Osinbajo and Bola Tinubu to reconcile and push one person forward, and that this may affect the entire call for the Southern presidency because there's lack of unity among the Southern aspirants. Do you share that thought?
I think that it's a family. The APC is a family, and don't worry about us. We'll sort it out.
All right. I love your confidence on that. And Arinze, I just have to pose the same question. Okay. If the southern part of the country fails to clinch the APC ticket, people are saying that it will be because they refuse to unite and learn from what happened at the PDP National Convention, where it looks like there was some sort of unity among the northern aspirants, with some of them stepping down for someone to just get it and bring it home.
Yeah, you may have a point there, because if you look at the votes that went to Atiku and the votes that went to Wike, you would have seen that if the South and Southeast and maybe Southwest had backed Wike, maybe it would have been a closer tie than what we saw. But when you now, and I think I will agree with you, but I believe the Southeast, we are doing something close to trying to harmonize. A few weeks ago, there were 5 or 6 aspirants met together and agreed, that they will work towards supporting, and the likes of Governor Hope Uzodinma, Governor Umahi, the Southeast National Chairman Ijeoma Rodiobu, and the Deputy National Chairman are also putting, Emmanuel are also putting all efforts to see how the Southeast could narrow down to one person. But generally, I would love it to come to the Southeast or the South. But if the delegates decide to go north,
okay,
it's a party affair.
It will be a very tough contest indeed if we have an all-north PDP and all-north APC. Well, nothing is impossible. It's democracy, just like you said. We must thank you so much, Arinze Igboeli, the spokesman of the APC in the Southeast geopolitical zone. And of course, we can only wish you well ahead of your national convention. We just hope all the Southeast delegates will vote according to their conscience.
Yes,
vote for their
conscience.
Okay, thank you so much. And of course, Ibim Semenitari, award-winning journalist, former commissioner for information, and of course, former acting MD of NNDDC, has been with us, sharing some very important points, especially on the Presidential Campaign Council, which she belongs to, that of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. We must thank you so much for joining us from Port Harcourt. We hope to have you sometime again.